Welcome to the road to 1 million US dollars. Let's get right into the Bitcoin chart for today, starting on this 1 day time frame for Bitcoin, because right now Bitcoin is pumping massively to the upside in the short term here. And as I said in yesterday's video as well, Bitcoin has just flipped. So what I was talking about in yesterday's video was actually the MACD indicator that has just flipped bullish. And today we are seeing a continuation of this bullish momentum. So it really appears right now, at least, that bullish momentum is returning in the market here. And of course, if this continues, then we will likely see much higher price action for Bitcoin relatively soon. However, one thing we must keep in mind at the same time is that right now we are pumping into a level of resistance. And whenever we are trading inside a level of resistance, it is important to pay attention to the price action to make sure that we're not getting a rejection back down. So the key price level to pay attention to right now is between 60,000 and 62.4K, roughly speaking. And in the case that we do break out above 62.4K, then likely we would be heading up into this next level of resistance, sitting between 65 and 66,000 US dollars for the Bitcoin price. However, if we start breaking back below this 60K level here, then potentially we need to start looking lower once again. Now, there are some short-term levels of support here that I will talk about in just a second. This big level of support right here is between 58,000 and 56,000 US dollars for the Bitcoin price. So this is a potential level where you can look for a bounce in the case that we see this. However, as I said yesterday as well, bullish momentum appears to be returning in the market here. So we might actually be gunning for this level of resistance here once again. Now, of course, if you have been following my videos recently, you know that I was talking about this Fibonacci golden pocket quite a bit. So between the 0.618 and the 0.65 level. So again, roughly between 62,000 and 62.7K. And I have been saying for a couple weeks at this point that this is a strong level of resistance. And of course, I was even saying this before we hit it the first time. So if we actually zoom into the 4-hour time frame here, you can see that we already had one touch, 2 rejections, 3 rejections from this level. And right now, potentially, let's say that we break out above this previous high, then we could be aiming for this Fibonacci golden pocket once again to see if we are actually going to break out this time. Now, if we actually end up breaking out above the Fibonacci golden pocket, likely we would be heading up to this next level of resistance, which is the 0.786 Fibonacci level, sitting at about 65.6K. Now, in terms of momentum in the market here, let's say that we go back to this lower time frame, this 4-hour time frame here. If we actually break back below the 0.5 level once again, this would indicate that we might be seeing some more bearish momentum after that. For example, down to this 0.382 Fibonacci level sitting at 57K. So I'm not saying that we are fully out of the woods yet. We would first really have to break this big level of resistance here. But if that actually ends up happening, then I do think we are going to see higher price action after that. But to summarize this, basically, I would just say that so far, so good. We are basically just seeing some bullish momentum return in the market. And so long as we are seeing a continuation of this and not something like this, then of course we are going to see much higher price action for the Bitcoin price. And potentially we could even be starting to look at the top of this descending channel once again. But for now, I am definitely saying that it is a bit too early to start talking about this, because I would first really like to see us break that Fibonacci golden pocket right here. Moving on to the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, first of all, on this 3-day time frame. So right now you can see that we have liquidity to the upside right here at 61.5K, and we have some liquidity to the downside at 57.7K. However, most of the liquidity is to the upside. And right now you're seeing Bitcoin sweeping all of this lower liquidity right here at about 60.5K. So we already took out about $100 million worth of people that were shorting the Bitcoin price because the Bitcoin price reached this price level. So potentially, if the Bitcoin price is going to reach this level here, it is important to pay attention to the price action once again, because sometimes you will see the Bitcoin price reverse after sweeping a big level of liquidity. You can see a small example of this right here. So we got this pump to the upside. We swept all of this liquidity right here. This big level of liquidity was not there yet at the time. So we took out a big level of liquidity and then reversed back down to sweep the lower side liquidity as well. Either way, let's take a look at the 1 week time frame now. Again, we have quite a bit of liquidity at 61.5K, and we still have liquidity as low actually as 55.8K. So again, if you start to see the Bitcoin price really start to turn around here, potentially losing this as a level of support, then you need to look lower once again, because we have all of that liquidity right here. Okay, so that is how you use these Bitcoin liquidation heat maps. Lastly, let's take a look at the Bitcoin ETF flow tables for today. And what we can actually see over the last couple days is that we got 4 back-to-back days of net inflows from these Bitcoin ETFs, and actually in increasing size in terms of buying pressure. And one thing that I am very happy with seeing here is that we're not seeing like a massive inflow of like $400-500 million in a single day. We are just seeing relatively normal buys, quite low buys in comparison, because on average, they buy about $150 million worth of Bitcoin every single weekday. But usually these Bitcoin ETF investors tend to get it wrong at the exact lows and the exact highs. And what I mean by that is that so far what I've seen from these Bitcoin ETF investors, we saw a massive, like over $1 billion inflow at the exact high at about 73K. So they bought the exact Pico top for Bitcoin so far. And on the massive moves to the downside, you also see the biggest outflows from these Bitcoin ETFs. So they are basically buying high and selling low over and over again. Now, it may, of course, be different investors that are buying and selling, but basically, if you just look at the inflows and outflows from the ETFs, they basically get it exactly wrong every single time. And therefore, if we would now be seeing crazy high buys every single weekday, maybe in the short term, it would have a bullish effect on the Bitcoin price because it is just a massive amount of buying pressure. But at the same time, looking at the track record from the Bitcoin ETFs here, it would also kind of worry me at the same time. Okay, so either way, let's just keep taking a look at this every single day here. And I will keep you guys up to date on the crypto markets, of course. Make sure to subscribe to my channel with notifications on. And also, I quickly wanted to shout out the Road to 1 Million Discord community. You can join that completely for free with the first link in the video description. It is basically a very active community of people that are trading crypto every single day. So if that applies to you as well, or you just want to read other people's analysis, again, completely for free, then go check it out. And hopefully I see you in the community. Regardless, if you do end up joining or not, thank you for watching once again, and I will see you tomorrow in the next one.